Well, as the back half of the season heats up, so does the championship, and we bring it this week to Italy, a country that boasts the 8th largest economy in the world and actually has Europe's 3 active volcanoes. They're all in Italy as well, but don't worry, they are well far away from this 3.6-mile track. It's 34 laps with 2 DRS zones and speeds of up to 227 miles an hour, and you can achieve that because you're on full throttle for 84% of the lap. There's only 11 turns around here, 6 to the right, 5 to the left, and there are plenty of places to get overtaking maneuvers done into the retrofilio down in turn 1 where the dive bomb always warranted there, and the Della Roggia down in turn 4. We can see many front wings disappear through those 2 turns, and through the curva parabolica out of turn 11. That will judge your speed down the main straight. How close can you get to the car in front? How far away can you get from the car behind? As far as tire choices here today, it's the C2, the C3, and the C4. It's the same tires that we had in Germany and Hungary as well last week, with the mediums about 0.6 slower and the hards 1.1 seconds slower. We shouldn't see the hards if everybody is doing the ultimate strategy, but it is a place where weather could always play a factor. We've seen wet Italian Grand Prix before. Could we see another one here today? Over into the championships, DJ Danny on top over James F1 by 5 points after his 3rd win up this week in Hungary, but HK is only 5 points adrift of James in 3rd place. Point still leading the Constructors' Championship by 11 points, but they have a surging Red Bull Racing in tow, and Renault are beginning to pick up their form once more, and Alfa Romeo have fallen off ever so slightly. Kendo, it's a place that is always known for its speed, but how much speed could we be seeing here today? And how many overtakes do you think we're going to be seeing here tonight?
Well, we have just had a little bit of a conversation of this just off stream, just before we got going. It's going to be a very, very interesting turn 1. I've got to say that. A lot of speed going into that first turn. Let's see who comes out on top in there and who does not get any front wing damage, shall we say. Because that will be the decider on whether people have to box and lose a lot of time because of their strategies being out of sync then, or do they gamble to stay out and potentially get themselves into more trouble. But again, we will find out after qualifying.
We do have quite the cloudy qualifying it is so far. Yeah. It's definitely a bit of a haze out there, but blue skies do look like they are on the horizon as James F1, as he does every week, is first out onto the track. This is a Racing Point team, along with James F1 and his teammate Sir Sharks Kendo, that has been extremely consistent through this entire season, and that is the reason that they are atop the constructors as things stand.
Exactly that, and as we've said about consistency wins your championships, and quite rightly they are in the right place in the constructors with 84 points, and you've seen HK having a good day and having a bad day, which is why they're lagging a little bit further behind on 75.5 points. But end of the day, you've got to be in it to win it, and that's what the Racing Points have done.
Well, how consistent will they be? Because the weather report is in a cloudy qualifying, as we mentioned, but those clouds will open up come the race. Heavy rain for the duration of the entire race. So those 227 miles an hour we could definitely see diminished around this extremely quick track. Does that lend itself to potentially a matter of just keeping it on the track?
Well, not just keeping it on the track, but being able to visually see your braking points, because that's going to be the key in this race, being able to manage your contact, making sure that you don't make any mistakes, especially going into that back straight in Sector 3, because that's going to be a major talking point of a race, I have no doubt about. It's a very nasty turn, especially in the wet.
Well, a man who is just now about to come across the line. Take us for a lap around Monza with DXT League.
Oh, lovely. So, as we can see, he's coming into, about to approach the first turn, coming in extremely hot. Has to set himself into his first, one, third, fourth. So he's just making sure he avoids that wheel spin. Going round this long right-hander, and it's coming up to a very hard braking point with a swing to the left and swing to the right. So here we go, he gets it nicely on the throttle. And then this is, can catch a few drivers out if you catch that right-hand curve, which at the moment he does not. He goes a little bit wide. Now here's going to be the point where does this DRS put Lee off here? This is going to be the make or break point of people's hot laps. At the moment he's gone a little bit deep, so we have a little bit of a compromised exit there. He's got a little bit of traffic in front, but I don't think that's going to affect him at all. Dropped himself into 4 just to get a little bit more turn into the car, and now he's straight away put it up to 6 and 7 with DRS about to be activated now. And he's about to cross the line and set to 1:19.8. And at the moment, James F1 is on top on a 1:19.1.
And you wonder if that distance between the times can do is about, well, now between first and second, about 3/10. People seeing that heavy rain and making adjustments that may not give them as great of an ability on a dry track, but on a completely soaked track. It may benefit them because park firmly, of course, enabled. Should James be running a dry setup, he won't be able to change anything but his front wing come the race.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's one of the benefits of staying in the pits for a little bit longer. As we've seen, James F1 went immediately out onto the track. Could that have cost him in the race because he hasn't seen the track conditions in the race, as you rightly say, because setups play a huge part, especially when it comes to the rain.
Especially around this track, where typically we can see speeds of 220 miles an hour. I don't think we're going to see that here this afternoon, but we could be seeing something of the likes in qualifying as Sir Sharks coming across the line, 1:19.6. From the racing point to start things off. Not a bad banker lap indeed, but further down the field we have Scartrix heading down the back straight now, about to come up on the curve of Parabolica in the middle of a Renault sandwich as he heads through the final turn. What can the man in the Haas that has had a very, very up and down season? He goes third fastest, and the man who got his first podium last week and McLaren's first podium up into second as well, right on the heels of James F1 in that racing point. It could just be another Kendo, another driver looking to chip away and grab a few points where he can.
End of the day, the caliber of the drivers speak for themselves. Any one of the guys, if they put their finger on the trigger or foot to the pedal, can achieve a lot of high results. However, as we mentioned before, it's all about getting that consistency in the race. Because as we see, we're still on board here with Scartrix. He hasn't had the best of season. He was missing last week. Unfortunately, that dropped him a little bit down the standings. Because at the moment, we'll jump on board here with HK. He's about to come in to Sector 2.
Yeah, we can see there, I mean, James F1, HRC, and Scartrix all down into the 119s. Miles, Rymac, Sir Sharks, and DXT League as well. DJ Danny, not with the best of banker laps, but again, it is a banker lap, and so it's a little bit more patience. HK doing everything he can to get as much of that tow from the Mercedes in front of him as he heads through the Ascari chicane. Now it's a little bit loose out there, but manages to hold it together quite well as he heads down the back straight. He's up into 8th gear, 208, 209, 210 miles an hour, right at the braking zone. Coming through, running wide as you do out of the Curva Parabolica in Kendo. For those that don't know, as HK runs second fastest, just a few hundredths off of our preliminary pole sitter. For those that don't know, Kendo, what is the reason for running wide? Because normally you want to take the corner as tight as possible. That's probably the only corner on the calendar that I can think of that you intentionally run wide through.
Yeah, at the end, it's due to the fact that being able to get that slingshot at the end, as a lot of drivers think slow in, fast out, and the fact that enabling themselves to swing out wide means that they can get onto the hammer time a lot sooner, and that's the key in racing. Slow in, fast out. That's the basic principles whenever you're going into corners.
The man that achieved his first pole last week in Hungary actually dived into the pit lane. It looked like he was lining up for another lap there, so we stayed on board with him. Rimac is actually currently, as things stand, the lead Renault out on track, hitting, well, he hit that 220, no, he falls just short, 218 miles an hour from Rimac, but Rimac has had a bit of a season to forget. 2 points in Abu Dhabi, 2 points in Spain, 5 points in Brazil. He hasn't finished the race in any of the other ones. He DNF'd last week around Hungary, so it's just been a very up and down season for Rimac. I think we expected him to break in the top 10.
I think Danny's waiting to try and get fourth, allow Rimac to get it. I don't think he's doing it at the moment. Maybe it's on that back straight, but
and could DJ Danny be trying to help out his teammate?
He's doing exactly that. You could see him deliberately slowing down, let the other cars go past. You can see right there. Oh, Rimac is getting on DJ Danny. Wow, that is being orchestrated.
That was perfectly executed there as he runs wide. He keeps the lap together. How much time will that cost him? Because you don't get as much grip out there. He doesn't go faster. Actually goes about a 10th slower. But now Rimac is going to give his teammate the exact same treatment. DJ Danny, having his teammate in front of him, going to give him the toe, which is just so extremely powerful around this circuit, especially with DRS, if we're use it at all during the race, depending on the conditions. As now looks like Rimac will try and get out of the way. That wasn't as convincing as it was the other way around down the back straight, but nevertheless, DJ Danny getting quite a hefty toe from his teammate down the main straight as he heads through the first of the two Lesmos and through the second, now into the second of the two DRS zones. He has Williams in front of him, and he's going to easily clear. DJ Danny looks on for quite the lap at the moment. Is 3/10 faster than his previous middle sector, but cuts the corner there on the entry to the Scar chicane and tails off and into the wall. DJ Danny will not be joining us for the rest of qualifying for the final 7 minutes. It looked like he just completely lost the car on the way out between the entry and the exit. Somewhat reminiscent of Germany, which you won't appreciate me saying, but it did look quite like that.
Well, it was exactly what I was just saying to you there. Coming up that back straight, it's going to be that turn. It's going to be the make or break for drivers, and it's proven that DJ Danny has been the first person to fall victim of that little chicane, and just will show even the best drivers in the league are going to make mistakes.
Well, it might be too early to talk about championship implications, but I don't think it's ever really too early to simply discuss them. How on earth might DJ Danny's qualifying here affect him later on in the next few weeks? Because right now his nearest rival is sitting on pole position, and you know, in a place that could be tricky, especially with the rain. As we see Matt's doing the exact same thing as DJ Danny, getting quite squirrely out of the Ascari chicane. But how on earth might that play into the championship as we move along here through the season?
Well, it could have huge ramifications. See, because bear in mind you've got HK as well, who was in P3, not that far behind either. So they're both currently P1, P2. So it's the mind games starting to play, as you've just been saying, referring to. Will DJ Danny have to make overtakes that he doesn't normally have to do? And because of that, mistakes can happen within the race. And on top of it, the rain is coming. That's going to put on extra pressure onto DJ Danny to try and catch up to HK and James.
There's 5 minutes to go here. We're now on board with HK's teammate Lee, who is just now coming across the line. Actually, he's potentially setting a cooldown lap. It doesn't look like he may have invalidated his lap and will actually do so again through turn 1 and turn 2. So you have a Red Bull up into second, a Red Bull into 9th place. Toro Rosso is down in 10th and 11th. 2 McLarens up into 3rd and 4th, which we probably wouldn't see this time 4 weeks ago. But as things stand, the McLaren's on a surge. HRC and Ryan stepping into those McLaren seats and doing a great job here so far. Let's see who else we can jump on board with for the time being. As far as the Ferraris, Kendo, it hasn't really gone as well as they had probably hoped, as Crook also invalidating at the first corner. But yeah, as far as the Ferraris, it has not been probably the season that they had hoped, expected, and they will certainly be looking to make amends here this weekend.
Exactly that, considering at the moment the Ferrari are P7 in the Constructors, so they currently only have 15 points, so they're currently in a little bit of a battle for P7, P8 in the in the Constructors, because as we say, McLaren have been on a major surge. Their team have started to gain a lot of ground in that Constructors, in the fact that Ricardo and Leclerc haven't had the best season so far. The best person at the moment is P13 of Ricardo. Yeah, not that great at the moment. They need to be consistent. Starting to get back up there once again as we jump on board here with Leclerc.
We're actually on board with Rimac as he starts his lap. How far can the Renault make his way up the field and try to make amends for his teammate crashing out as he skids through the second corner? He's completely tossing the back end and having to slow up a little bit at risk of spinning around as much like his teammate did. He has a Toro Rosso to negotiate. That was actually a racing point. He had to negotiate and get around as Rimac coming through the first of the 2 Lesmos. Right now in P8, about 4 tenths off of the pole time. We're still showing him on an outlap. We're most definitely sure. You can see by his battery deployment in the car that he is really pushing this Renault powered car to its limits as he cuts the Ascari chicane yet again. That's I think we're seeing a theme here, Kendo.
Yeah, exactly that. It's all about that first turn. If they hit that apex spot on, the rest of the sequence takes form. If you are slightly out, even by a fraction, your whole sequence is completely out of sync, and you're seeing exactly what happened with DJ Danny. Nearly happened to Ryan back there, as he's now retired from the and with just over a minute to go, everyone's going to be putting in their final few hot laps coming in. I do believe you're on board here with Ryan 97. He's coming up to one of the back straights.
The top 10 either already on a lap or on an out lap here with just over a minute to go as we see Ryan come through the Ascari chicane, keeping it clean through there. McLaren could be on for a fantastic lap. He has plenty of traffic behind him. He has his teammate in front of him giving him a tow as well as he heads through Parabolica now. And Ryan in this McLaren, currently in P5. He has about 3/10 to make up if he wants pole position. And he goes 4th fastest. He jumps his teammate, who now starts his lap. He will, actually, let's go ahead, ride on board with, here's an interesting scenario through here. We have an Alfa Romeo towing a Red Bull, who's towing a Racing Point, and actually HK is towing James along. This is the worst thing that could have happened for HK.
Oh wow, yeah, that is a huge tactical play there by James. As we're being referred to, the mind games have already started. HK is desperate to try and hang on to the car in front. James goes a little bit deep into the gravel, ever so slightly, still holding on to the toe of HK as HK is coming down this back straight. How much of a toe has he got on that car in front? Because I'd say James has got a lot more toe than HK.
James's teammate Sir Sharks has jumped into 3rd position, so already a fantastic qualifying for Racing Point. With HK getting a little bit out of shape there through the corner. He's now going to abandon his lap and let James go by. He's done playing that game, but how much of the tow already given to the Racing Point could affect his lap as he comes through Parabolica now and again has a car to tow behind. Doesn't even go faster than his lap. He sits on pole as things stand. It doesn't look like his teammate will look to take that off of him. Sir Shark seems to be, he's invalidated his lap. And that looks like, to me, Kendo, how things will wrap up here. I don't think we're going to see anybody else jumping each other for moto into the pit lane. And that looks like how qualifying will end. So back-to-back poles for James F1 here in back-to-back weeks, and in a place like Monza, which is extremely easy to overtake in the dry conditions, he might be thankful that he is on pole position, especially in the deluge that is about to come.
Oh yeah.
Especially through that turn 1.
Oh yeah, definitely. And as you can see, HK is currently in a little bit of a sandwich there with the Racing Points there. So I'm going to guess there's going to be a lot of tactical positioning from their drivers. So as we go down the grid, so you've got James F1, P1, HK is in P2, closely followed by Sir Sharks, Liverpool Ewan in 4, Ryan is in 5, HRC 6, Star Trek in 7, Miles in 8, Rymac in 9, and to finish off your top 10 is Lee LFC, and then you've got CJ Murphy, Maniac Leclerc, Matt, DJ Danny, Landnord, Jamie 29, Leclerc 16, Fairmoto 19, and Ricardo 20. So the Ferraris are down at the bottom of the pack yet again. So not very good qualifying, and Danny is quite a long way back.
Well, you can see just from the times, it almost looks like those in the 120s have elected for a wet setup, and you just see the rain pouring here in Monza. But I wonder if, Kendo, we know how good the Ferraris are in wet conditions. I wonder if that might be a strategy to just sit back, let all the carnage happen down in turn 1, adjust their cars for the rain, and take advantage where they can.
Could well be. I know Ricardo has a lot of speed in him, but his consistency, I know in other leagues, is not as strong. So, but he's been working on that with this countdown clock's just started. Leclerc, I don't know too much about him in the rain, but the main person who I do know that is strong in rain conditions is actually HK. So, watch out for HK and the rest of the field. As going into the rain, I can only see a lot of drivers coming together with the horrible conditions, and visibility is going to be very low going into turn 1.
You can see here as we start the formation lap. He does have HK a bit of a task ahead of him, not only
West.
trying to negotiate the car in front, but he has to negotiate the car behind him as well, because certainly with that being James's teammate, I don't think there's going to be any quarter shown between either of the drivers here this afternoon. As you pointed out there, the full wet tires all the way down through the grid, nobody even chancing the intermediates. But it'll be interesting to see where this pit window will open up, because the wets can take a little bit, or they can take a little bit more punishment than maybe a soft or a medium tire. But should the rain stop, they'll go off rather quickly.
Well, it's exactly that, considering all we know it's going to be rain. We don't know if it's going to be heavy rain or if it's going to change out the lights. So that's going to be another interesting thing that we'll have to see play out. And at that point in time, as we're talking about it dry now, will the racing line form up as heavily as it can do? Because that will also affect the pit window, as you rightly say.
Who will risk potentially an intermediate stint? Who will even try it? Will it be somebody that has something to lose, or potentially somebody that has nothing to lose? We'll have 27 laps to sort that out and figure out who is king of the rain here in Italy, as it just is absolutely pouring on this circuit. Grid filing up yet again. You can see quite a few stragglers. It looks like almost all the way down to the first of the McLarens has been just completely bottled up. You can see everybody on the grid very slow to get there. James has taken his place, and we wait for the rest of the grid. It looks like a Ferrari's Ricciardo is well behind everyone else. They're still forming up here. This is race 7 of 11. The championship is starting to heat up more than it already has. We'll have 27 laps to sort this one out here in the deluge in Monza. We're away here in Italy. James gets a fantastic start, but as does HK, who's already alongside him. As the Red Bull got the lead heading into turn 1, it looks like he does, has the inside line. They're 3 wide behind him. James F1, before even the first corner, has lost the lead of this race. And he's already, his teammate actually already has a 3-second time penalty, as it doesn't even look like somebody got off the line. We have a safety car deployed after the second corner. Kendo, I didn't catch what happened. I wonder if you did.
Well, I only got a glimpse of it because all the spray of the cars, but as you can see, Matt got complete. He's currently at the back of the pack at the moment. He got completely sideways on the track. I don't know if he's had any contact in the back. That wasn't very clear.
It looks like Scartrix has wing damage, so I wonder if that had something to do with it.
It could be that, but I've definitely seen Matt's pretty much sideways and went into the left wall. So again, it's going to be an interesting one for the stewards potentially.
Yeah, he's missing quite a bit of that front wing. If we can get a better camera angle to see how extensive that damage might be, that would be somewhat appreciated. But for the Mercedes that started in 14th place, is lost already 7 positions on the opening lap. Because yeah, he's missing, it looks like just his left end plate, it seems. But in place right in Monza, we're already running not much downforce. He's going to be missing a ton of it should he elect to stay out. But being in last place, I don't understand why he would. Might as well just go ahead and change it, get a free pit stop, get a fresh set of wet tires. As Lee actually peels into the pit lane, I wonder, could that potentially be for damage as well?
Yes, it is.
It is. He's got the wheel, or the wing change. The Red Bull crew getting that done. It's fixed on, and away Lee will go. Scartrix also into the pit lane to fix his wing. Miles into the pit lane as well.
The wing as well.
Changing his wing. And Scartrix, well, here we go.
Oh.
Scartrix intermediate tires.
Interesting call.
Does Scartrix know something that we don't? And does he potentially know something that the other 19 drivers don't know about either? We will see how that will pay off. But just now started the second lap of this race. Under the safety car conditions, he could gain, if it pays off, he could gain plenty of positions, or if it doesn't, he could find himself aquaplaning into the wall. So a very risky gamble. Nearly 3 laps into this race.
Well, it's interesting, Matt, because as you can see, there is starting to be a racing line formed already. So potentially the rain is starting to ease off. And it could be a masterstroke play by Scartrix. However, we will soon find out as soon as the safety car ends. Because I would suspect if a lot of drivers are expecting it to ease off now, they would do it under the safety car. But we will have to see what the drivers do as they come around this final corner, what they choose to do.
You see there, 2 racing points. Second and third have actually swapped positions. It's Sir Sharks who's now the lead Pink Panther behind HK, who took the lead before the first corner, who got an incredible start on the first lap and had the lead before even we went down into the first corner, which is the cause of this safety car. Looks like Matt's got sideways and found himself facing the wrong direction, or at least not the direction you're supposed to be facing around this Italian circuit as we make our way under the safety car starting lap 3. I don't think it will be out for much longer. It was both Mercedes now with 5-second time penalties for exceeding track limits under the safety car. Another poor start from the Mercedes. Has not really gone their way at all this season.
No, not at all. And the fact that it's under the safety car makes the penalties even more needless, because at the moment the race is neutralised. Just get yourself back into the race. But with him getting about a 5-second penalty, he's put himself further away from the race. So that goes to show that the errors that are sneaking into some drivers' games need to be eradicated if we want to be considered to be title challenges in the future.
Oh, there it is, safety car in this lap, and now HK effectively becomes the pace car. How slow will he take this back straight to allow the safety car to peel into the pit lane? How well can he keep both racing points at bay behind him? How well can Liverpool Ewan in 5th place avoid the McLaren sandwich that he finds himself in now? Still have plenty of laps to go. Plenty of racing here still in Monza. You can see him just crawling down that back straight. This has to be agonizing for everyone behind him. We're saying, right, get going. Time to go. As it looks like he goes now. Scartrix, Matt's, they've all been involved in a collision that caused the safety car. They now get 5-second penalties for more collisions at the back of the field. And Matt's didn't quite get the restart he needed, finding himself adrift once more. But HK leads us over the line. DJ Danny has climbed up into 9th place. So after crashing out in qualifying, Scartrix into the pit lane. It doesn't look as we have a McLaren into the wall. Will that bring out the safety car yet again? It doesn't look like it. Yellow flag in Sector 1. Jamie 29 is following positions. HRC has fallen all the way from 4th down to 19th. And he has had a dreadful safety car restart. But now, Rimac being the lead, Renault up into 6th place as we race on here in Italy. The 2 racing points go wheel to wheel. And now Ryan 97 going around the outside of Sir Sharks, who fights back at him, keeping that inside line through the second Lesmo, just showing the McLaren out wide. You can see the whole host of cars fighting for second position. but that has allowed, you can see HK now just drifting away in the distance. The Red Bull almost 4 seconds up the road already. We haven't even done one lap of racing as a Racing Point heading extremely wide. There's Liverpool Ewan now up into second place as well as he gets past James F1. So those Honda engines showing their power in the wet conditions. It is currently a Honda 1-2 as things stand. Rimac now up into fourth as well. HK setting well, the first racing lap of this Grand Prix. James F1 may have picked up damage. He's into the pit lane. I wonder, could that be a wing change for the Racing Point? Kendo, if you want to keep an eye on that.
I can confirm, yes it is.
We have plenty of action still on the track. The Renaults up into 4th and 5th. So a great start after crashing out. DJ Danny starting down in 14th all the way up into 5th and right on the back of his teammate Rimac. And you think they might pull the switcheroo. HRC is always the Renaults are in the wall. There's a Renault in the wall. It's Rimac that has been shown the wall. I'm not sure who it was with. It could have been Ryan. It could have been his teammate as well. We didn't really get a good look at it. But yellow flags in Sector 3 and the virtual safety car has been deployed. Wow. What was looking as a great result for the Renaults. Well, it's only ended in more front wing changes for Rimac.
Yeah, it's becoming a very unfortunate season for him. He hasn't been able to show what he can do at times, and sometimes he's just being unfortunate in his decision making. This one, I don't think there was a lot he could have done as this virtual safety car has now ended. And as you say, a lot of people, I'm going to assume, are going to have to come into the pits now.
Well, that gamble for Scar Tricks going on the intermediate tires hasn't paid off yet. He's down to 19th place, but he is gaining on James 1, who's on fresh, wet tires down in 18th. So this race has been completely flipped on its head, Kendo. We thought that momentarily DJ Danny was in a load of trouble as he tries to maneuver his way past Liverpool Ewan, who we saw great defensive technique from last time out in Hungary, is showing that off again here this week. Kendo, it seems like this race has been completely flipped on its head. We thought DJ Danny would be in a world of trouble, and it's now James F1 who finds himself relegated all the way down the field into now 15th place after another round of pit stops. His teammate Sir Shark's in the pit lane. Many front wings already laying across this track.
Yeah, I very much wonder how much money is being spent on all of these front wings. Count up the total cost of the damage.
Carbon fiber out on the track might be able to build another one of these cars as the field is starting to get spread out ever more. You can see the McLaren of Ryan 97 trying to go around the outside of DJ Danny, but gets caught up behind the Toro Rosso. DJ Danny getting bump drafted into second place, but not before Liverpool Ewan holds the inside line into the Parabolica as Lando Norris retiring from this race out of the Sky. Will that pull out yet another safety car? We've already had 2 in this race, but now it looks like DJ Danny going down the pitch straight. The safety car has come out. And could this cue another round of pit stops as many more penalties, more than I can keep up with, file through the ranks as HK is going to have his 9.6 second lead, good grief, reeled back in. And the man who is firmly controlling this race in the wet that we saw last week in wet conditions. The first time, actually, that we've seen wet conditions here this season. We knew his pace. It is definitely showing here this afternoon.
It most certainly is, and I suspect the safety car was for Lando Norris. However, he was still moving at the point of retirement, so I don't know if that was disconnection from himself leaving the game, or did he crash out slightly? Again, it's something that needs to be had a look at, but moment, at this point in time, how would you think HA is going to be thinking? Because for me, I think he's going to be very, very annoyed the fact that safety cars have come out once again and brought Liverpool, Ewan and Danny back into the fight. He must be really annoyed. I don't know how you would be feeling right now.
Well, two more people then have gone on to intermediate tires. Leclerc in the Ferrari, taking that chance down in 14th place, and Sir Sharks as well after being tangled up in an early incident. And is HK into the pit lane? HK is in the pit lane, so that is sign, Kendo, that this rain is letting up. Let's see what HK goes on to. It's more wet tires.
Yeah.
So let's see who else is coming in the pit lane. DJ Danny in the pit lane. Jamie 29 in the pit lane as well. DJ Danny, wet tires as well. So you wonder, Kendo, I think we thought that these wet tires might go about 14 laps. That doesn't seem to be the case. They seem to be going off potentially at a maximum of 11 to 12 laps, because at 7 laps people are already electing to pit.
And that's exactly what we were referring to. Has that drying line started to appear? You can see it clearly has, but it doesn't look like it's in the window to change onto the intermediates just yet, because we'll have a look at fastest laps. The current fastest lap on the wet is a 1:32.6. However, at the moment the fastest intermediate is a 1:37.6. So it goes to show that there's still a lot of time in them wet compound tyres compared to the inters.
We see now the worst case scenario for Racing Point, 17th and 18th. Last of the cars still out on track. Has not been the greatest of starts after achieving pole position, or nearly achieving, actually did achieve pole position, getting my cars messed up. Back-to-back pole positions for James F1 has only seen him head down into 17th position, but his teammate as well, who qualified in 3rd, finds himself still behind his teammate as well, and still well adrift, still under the safety car, just showing how far behind Sir Sharks was. But the field comes back together once more. We wait those 6 cars, the Haas, the Mercedes, both Mercedes, and Renault of Rimac, who we saw get put into the wall. We're not entirely sure by his teammate or potentially by someone else. But both Williams as well, Kendo. 5th and 7th. This would be a great result for them.
Most certainly is, and it's taken me even by surprise, considering the fact that Sir Sharks and James F1 were so far up the grid, and they have moved all the way down. It goes the same for the Williams drivers. They have kept their noses out of the trouble that has been occurring, and it's a great position to be in, P5 and P7 for Leclerc and their motor. Let's see if they can hold it together and keep up this good start to the race. Lap 9 out of 27.
Well, you can see amongst the teams splitting their strategies. Haas have decided to put one of their drivers on the intermediates. Ferrari still have Ricardo out on his 8-lap-old full wet tires, and they pitted Leclerc earlier in this race down into 12th on the intermediates as well. And as we mentioned, Racing Point at the back of the field have split their strategy as well. Wet for James F1, intermediate for Sir Sharks, as we are, I believe, nearing the restart here. The Toro Rosso is up into 1st and 3rd. Everybody from 1st down to 8th has yet to make their pit stop. Actually, DXC Miles may have actually stopped on the 1st lap, I do believe he did. In fact, he did. He is showing currently as having 1 stop, so his tires are 1 lap newer. He was involved in an incident that caused the first safety car of this race. This is the 2nd full safety car. We got a virtual safety car in the middle of these as we proceed for another lap around the safety car in this absolutely downpour of weather conditions that we have here in Italy this afternoon. And Liverpool Ewan leading the way and leading the rest of the field around behind the safety car. Kendo, if Toro Rosso are able to hold on to this result, that would send them hugely up the table as far as the constructors go, not to mention the Drivers' Championship.
Well, yeah, that's it. If I quickly have a look at the actual constructors as it currently stands, the Toro Rosso team of Rimac and Liverpool Ewan are currently P6 on 35 points. The leaders are currently on 84, so a huge chunk of points could be gained here. And as you rightly say, they could lead quite a few drives because you've got the Haas team that are on equal points to them. So let's see if they can at least jump up to P5 today's race.
Well, if this is benefiting anybody at the moment in the constructors, it is Red Bull, the only team in the top 3 teams at the moment who have at least one driver in the points. Now, granted, DJ Danny had to pit, as did Rimac, from an earlier incident, as the safety car is in this lap, and Liverpool Ewan decide to do the same antics that his sister teammate pulled on the first safety car restart, coming about 50 miles an hour down this back straight. He likes to go a little bit quicker, as I think as he should. He's go a little bit too early. That safety car isn't even out of parabolic yet. He slows down here to allow that safety car in, and probably a decent idea so, as Ryan picks up a 5-second penalty for rear-ending the leader in the gearbox. It doesn't look like he's picked up any damage, but he certainly has picked up a 5-second penalty for his troubles as Liverpool Ewan takes off here, and we are once again racing around Monza. Hit the better of the exits out of Parabolica. Murphy has fallen down into 5th. DJ Denny and HK look like they're scrapping for 9th and 10th place. As you can see, HK just drifting onto the grass and is going to lose a couple places there, as Danny's been pushed onto the curb as well. And now it looks like we have a Ferrari that seems to have completely lost his way. It is Leclerc that has moved into 16th place, but now Ricardo looks like he was the one involved in that incident, all the way down into 18th places. The Renault of DJ Danny finding himself behind 2 Red Bulls now, so he's going to have to clear DXT Lee and start to challenge HK yet again, and Lee has dropped back a 1.5 seconds behind his teammate, allowing him to get away. Now for Romeo's up ahead, doing the old switcheroo, allowing Miles up in 5th place to try to challenge the Williams, as well as the Toro Rossos and the McLaren in front of them. It is all happening here as we begin to approach the halfway mark of this race. We've completed 10 laps. We're on lap 11 right now as the leader rounds the curve of Parabolica to start lap 12. I don't think this race has disappointed anybody here so far, especially in these conditions.
It's hard to have everything, considering you've had the carnage at times, you've had really good attempted overtakes. As at the moment, we've got DJ Danny trying to get up the back of Lee. However, at the moment, we've got quite a few battles as well, because as you're looking at their moto, he's trying to catch up with Murphy as well. So quite a lot of battles going on at this point in time. However, you've got to bear in mind P7 to P1. I would suspect still need to hit.
Down the inside goes DJ Danny. They bang wheels. The Red Bull gets a little bit airborne as well. DJ Danny finding himself up into 9th place, and Lee looks like he's had an incident as well. No, it was just a little moment from the Red Bull, but he's lost 3 places in even less corners as he locks wheels with the Mercedes. The Mercedes is around, and he's lost his front wing. He's still in this race, but he's planted straight in the middle of the track. That's Jamie 29, and has been shown the wrong direction. I'm beginning to wonder, I believe that might have been on Lee. He didn't really give the Mercedes much room. That may have been little bit out of frustration as well after getting some wheel banging from DJ Danny, Scartrix as well, and Rymac getting past him. That might have been just a very over-aggressive maneuver, but nevertheless, HK, his teammate, up into 7th place and clearing as much space as possible between him and DJ Danny. That gap is about 2.2 seconds between the two drivers, with Fairmoto splitting them. Now Scartrix might actually have a little look at DJ Danny in the Haas, looks to the inside, cuts the corner ever so slightly, and manages to keep it on the track, but the intermediate tires, Kendo, seem to be coming to life.
Exactly that, and that would have been the fact that what Scartrix has been hoping for. It might have come a little bit too late for Scartrix. I do fully expect them to have to potentially
hang on there, Kendo. HK had gotten the move done around the inside of Murphy, but actually Murphy hitting back and managing to retake 6th place. As you can see, HK is cleared, trying to clear this next group of cars to claw his way back up the field. Everybody from 1st through 6th has yet to pit. HK looking to the inside line. Will he send it through the Ascari chicane? Pushes Murphy out onto the tarmac and into the grass. HK up into 6th place and now has Williams in front of him. Toro Rosso as well, who is all over the back of DXT Miles, trying to hold the inside line through Parabolica. Doesn't quite get it on this occasion, but will certainly have the toe headed through down the pit straight. All of the action is popping off here as overtake after overtake happening as DJ Danny now coming under pressure from Scartrix in the Haas behind him. Could that Renault engine have enough straight line speed on this occasion? Yes, it does. Here on lap 14, Ricardo into the pit lane as well. So he's said enough with those wet tires. It does look like 14 laps, Kendo, seems to be the limit that these wet tires can do. And he's gone on to the intermediate. Could that signal everyone else who hasn't pitted to come into the pit lane and fit the intermediate tires and hang HK out to dry?
Wow.
No pun intended.
Wow. Yeah. That's going to be an interesting call. As you rightly say, considering they're all on 13-lap old tyres and HK is on them fresh 6-lap old tyres. Will HK have to put it well? That's going to be another question, because if he wants to take a gamble of hanging himself out to dry, or does he try and push for them intermediates? We'll soon find out once the front runners in front of him decide to pit.
Murphy is all over the back of the Williams. The top 4 still need to pit, and now the top 3 as HK clears his sister team. The Toro Rosso Maniac down into 5th place and held 3rd at one point under the safety cars. Ryan now just showing that the wets are still probably the correct tire to be on, setting the fastest lap, 132.4. As now it seems like the first of the wet runners have peeled into the pit lane. And he picks up a 5 seconds penalty for speeding in the pit lane for his time. It doesn't look like much is happening out on track at the moment. We'll see what tires he elects to go on, the intermediate tires, Kendo.
Ooh. So it's getting to the point where the crossover is starting to happen. Obviously, all the drivers are starting to get information from Jeff, the mechanic, as in what's going on, and then deciding to make that pit stop. But as you rightly have noticed, you're starting to see a thing. The intermediates are coming out from all drivers.
But it doesn't look like they're faster yet. I mean, we just saw Ryan set a fastest lap in his pursuit of Liverpool Ewan for the race lead. HK up into 4th as well on the wets. Scartrix only as far up is 8th. Leclerc has gone up into 13th. And the bottom 3 of Leclerc, Ricardo, and Jamie 29 now make that Leclerc up into 15th place. They're on intermediates as well, freshly put on. And Scartrix is going to make this strategy work. He needs to extend these intermediate tires for as long as they will. Ryan, another fastest lap, as he is now pulled to the outside of Liverpool Ewan. We're going to go around the outside, which will quickly become the inside. Couldn't the McLaren take the lead through turn 2? No, he doesn't. Liverpool Ewan with a better drive out of the second corner of the lap to keep the McLaren at bay, but for how much longer? Ryan's into the wall, and it doesn't look like he's lost a wheel, but he certainly has lost a bit of that front wing. Liverpool Ewan showed the block. Ryan just seemed to try to go right through him, and it didn't work out in the end. That is going to leave him now almost 2.5 seconds adrift as HK clears yet another driver who is elected to stay out on the wet tires. They've done 15 laps, have Liverpool Ewan and Ryan 97 in first and second. So they're showing the life of these wet tires. And HK, do you think HK could maybe go to the end of the race?
Potentially. And another question you've got to ask yourself as well, are them tyres that they are waiting, the 15 lap old tyres, are they waiting for that correct time for the crossover to happen on them intermediates? Potentially the guys that have just pitted might have been coming in early, expecting the rain to dry up quicker than what it actually has.
We're on board here with Scartrix, who is on the intermediate tires, chasing down DJ Danny for 6th place. You can see he has quite a bit more grip heading through Parabolic than DJ Danny did. He peels to the inside as they head on to pit straight now. There's a whole host heading into the pit lane. Ryan 97, Maniac as well. We'll keep an eye on what tires they fit. But will Scartrix have a little look down into turn 1? He pulls to the inside quite late. Might have that inside line. They don't touch at all. Great driving from the tube. DJ Danny still holding 4th place. The gap from Liverpool Ewan to HK, 5.7 seconds. HK closing in quickly. He's already, as I said, 5.7 is there. Ricardo 132.1 as DJ Danny gets a little bit out of shape. Gets extremely out of shape heading through turns 4 and 5 as they head through the first of the 2 Lesmos. Scartrix up into 4th place, getting past DJ Danny, and is now potentially the time that the intermediate tires become quite quicker than the wets, because as we just mentioned, Ricardo has the fastest lap now, down at 15th place, chasing down the Williams in front of him on the intermediate tires. So those that just pitted off their 15-16 lap old wet tires might be in for a nice little present of points here this afternoon.
100%, and like I was saying, it's the fact that as we see, Liverpool Ewan has gone into the pit, and they've been obviously waiting for the right crossover, and they have seen Ricardo set the fastest lap on them intermediate. He's the benchmark, and it's clearly shown the time it is right to move to the intermediate tyres, and the question will remain, will HK do the same?
Well, just as you were saying that, HK set another fastest lap on the wet tires, so maybe just giving him a little bit of breathing room out front, because Liverpool Ewan pitted, who's now on intermediate tires, allowing him to simply have that free track space. He's already gained 1.5 seconds on DXT Miles, who is the closest car behind him. It's now nearly another 1/10 of a second for the Red Bull out front. His pace in the wet is just absolutely insurmountable. As we see James F1 on the back of HK's teammate through the first Lesmo into the second one now as they head back down this middle sector yet again. James F1 have a little look at the car in the front. They're both on the same tires, so no issues there. It's going to come down as James F1 peels to the inside, heading through the Ascari chicane. A great overtake there from James F1 up into 4th place, but can he hold that position? Because it looks like Lee is hitting back at him down the outside. He covers him off, and it doesn't look like Lee is going to have another look at this one. He knows he's been beat. James F1 up into 4th place. As now the front runners have pitted once more. Miles into the pit lane after 17 laps on the wets. HK onto intermediate tires, which has put Scartrix into the lead of this race. We said earlier, Kendo, that it was going to have to take quite a bit of a strategic gamble for the Haas to lead this race. It's paid off. Now, Scartrix in the lead by almost 5.5 seconds over James F1, who has clawed his way all the way back up the field.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, how long can Scartrix hold on to them tyres?
Oh, and the virtual safety car has been deployed. I don't know what that's for. Might be...
Looks like a Mercedes.
McLaren potentially. There's a Mercedes.
Yeah, looks like Mercedes on that.
Oh, Jamie's 29 is missing his entire front wing. So, yeah, that would be a pretty decent reason for the virtual safety car, as he will most definitely peel into the pit lane. Mercedes 17th and 18th, just making up what is left of the drivers remaining. The virtual safety car is still out here. James F1 would have probably wanted that virtual safety car to come in at a later point in his lap, because he hasn't been able to get the free pit stop that he would have liked to potentially get off of these wet weather tires. But he is still gaining on Scartrix. I think we're in that period, Kendo, where the intermediate tires and the wet tires are just as fast as each other.
Ooh.
And Scartrix into the pit lane. Will James F1 follow him? No, he doesn't. He stays out. So he's going to elect to stay on the wet weather tires after taking pole and being relegated all the way to the back of the field. James F1 finds himself in the lead once more from DXT Lee, who's 2.3 seconds behind him, also on the wet weather tires, but now it is the intermediate tires that are in style here this afternoon. It's only James F1, Lee, Ryan 97 in the McLaren, and Murphy, the only ones left on the wet weather tire. We'll keep an eye on their times to see exactly when that crossover period might be, but you can see Lee gaining tons of time on James F1. He gained almost 0.2 of a second down that back straight, but immediately loses again, as it looks like as Jamie 29 has now officially retired from this session. The safety car has been deployed. So how will that change this? You can see there he's just completely lost the car, much in the same way that DJ Danny did, and I believe that's in the same place that Ryan 97 did much earlier in this race. But with 7 laps to go, does that signal James F1 and Lee to come into the pit lane and fit fresh intermediate tires? Because Leclerc 16 in the Ferrari has stayed out for 13 laps on his intermediate tires. What a belated birthday present it would be for the Ferrari to get on the podium here this afternoon. Keep an eye on who will peel into the pit lane. It'll be James F1 that has the first choice. He is into the pit lane. Lee also into the pit lane. They will most certainly be headed onto the intermediate tires, so that is Leclerc also into the pit lane, so he will not elect to stay out. Liverpool Ewan back into the lead of this race. Let's keep an eye on where James F1 comes out of the pit lane. They're still doing that tire change on the racing point. Down in the 5th, down in the 7th. So he's going to have another few cars go past him. Ryan 97 electing to stay out on the wets. James F1 finds himself just inside the points positions into 10th place, but he's on the freshest of the tires, bar Scartrix, who pitted a lap earlier. So Sharks, his teammate, down in 15th place. Kendo, I believe we have basically seen it all at this point.
Yeah, I can't believe the fact that how much of this race is completely being flipped on its head, because at the start of the race we were seeing how strong of a position James F1 and Scartrix were at the start of this race, and now the fact that you can see it is Liverpool, Ewan, HK and Miles up on top at this point in time. Sir Sharks is not necessarily on the best of races at the moment. Scartrix, he's took a gamble, and it seems to have paid off. He took the P5 at the moment. Incredible driving from Scartrix, and I think the battle between him and DJ Danny is going to resume very, very well. Just 2 good drivers. This short class, whatever, battling out on track.
between the 6 different leaders that we've had in this race. I mentioned Scartrix, who qualified down in the 7th, now up into 5th place. And he's going to have DJ Danny breathing down his gearbox here in a few minutes. And Ryan 97 is the only driver left on track on the wet weather tires. That is certainly a gamble and a half, Kendo.
Like I say, it was an incredible drive. The fact that he had the nerve, the sheer belief in himself to be able to hold out for that long, just propelled him into the position that he is right now. And that's the only way sometimes drivers have to do when they are under pressure, taking that gamble, risk for reward. And on this occasion, it's a reward that's heavily paid off.
Maniac on the intermediate tires is now trailing DXT Miles. We could be on for a full Honda podium this afternoon, which would be certainly an event, because I don't think either of us saw the Toro Rossos up into potentially, certainly both not into the top 5, but a great drive from them here so far this afternoon as Max is making his way back around. I don't know if he's going to have the opportunity to catch the safety car cue. So he usually saw the safety car in this lap notification right about there. So it looks like it will be, and just as I say that, safety car in this lap. We'll have about 4 laps to, 4 and then some laps to sort out whatever mess here this is this afternoon, which we've seen spills all over the track. Basically every single corner somebody has gone off into the grass or into the wall. We've only lost 3 drivers, but plenty of front wings have lost their owners here this afternoon. As Liverpool Ewan backing up that pack yet, much like he did the first time under the safety car restart, and now it looks like he is back underway to resume this race, but HK has gotten an incredible run on him already. Under a 1/10 of a second behind. The Toro Rosso peels to the outside, might even have the move done before turn 1. No, Liverpool Ewan's going to hold the inside line, break ways. There's an Alfa Romeo who just skids across turns 1 and 2. He's going to certainly pick up a time penalty for his troubles when he comes back onto the track. With Maniac up into 3rd, Danny up into 4th, Scartrix in the 5th because of that incident. You can see again, wheel to wheel go Liverpool Ewan and HK Ewan having the inside line through the Del Rogia in turns 4 and 5. Is now first of the 2 Lesmos they go. Let's see there, Ricardo and Leclerc have fallen down into 13th and 15th place. That strategy didn't quite work in the end, at least so far, with just a handful of laps left to go. Scartrix and Ryan now getting past DXT Miles, but we're still watching this battle at the front between Liverpool Ewan and HK, and HK has actually had to do more defending than he has attacking of late, because Liverpool Ewan's teammate Maniac is starting to gain on him as well. Looks like Ferramoto is starting to close in on the McLaren of Ryan 97 as well, who stayed out on the wet weather tires. It doesn't look like to be paying off at the end of the day. Ferramoto just tucking in behind, biding his time for potentially another chance, but DXT Lee doesn't need a second opportunity or a second invitation to go ahead and have an overtake. Still on the inside, brakes late as he tucks in behind the Williams, who might still have that inside line as we head into turn 1, and actually might clear James F1 in the process. He looks to go down the inside of James F1, and it actually is going to be to the benefit of Lee, who finds himself up into the points as DJ Danny is now closing in on Maniac. It is non-stop overtakes everywhere. Maniac just showing him extreme parts of the track. DJ Danny still holding on to that 4th place, but Maniac is going to have to, well, he's going to have to use everything in the tank and potentially then some. He might have to throw another bolt out the window to try to get less weight as DJ Danny runs extremely wide there through the second Lesmo. And that might invite Miles, who's actually 1.8 seconds back of the Renault, into the conversation, but has certainly seen Danny's way out of the podium positions for right now. Still quite the restart. The battle's still happening everywhere, but I just need a second to breathe myself.
I know, and as we said at the start, as I mentioned, HK is very good driver in the wet, and you're seeing the launch that he got, and as you can see, he's setting the fastest lap out on track at the moment, so going to be sending a message to Liverpool Ewan, lap 25 of 27. The pressure's going to be on Liverpool Ewan. Can he keep it in first place? Because at the moment, HK is doing quite a good job at this point in time. You've got Maniac, who's lost a little bit of ground in these front two, so it's after currently it stands between
DJ Danny has the inside, still has the outside now. Who will get the better drive out of the Della Roggia? It looks like DJ Danny has the move done. He does indeed. We have another car in the wall, it seems. It might be multiple cars, actually. Looks like we have a Williams that's been spun around. A Mercedes goes past him. It has not been the greatest of days for those running at the back of the pack, but that is, I guess, a consequence for running that far behind. Kendall, we saw some brilliant defending last week from Liverpool Ewan. We're seeing it again here this week. HK still behind him. He's gaining, he's gaining, he's gaining. It doesn't look like he's going to pull off a move through the Parabolica, but he might have a little look through the pit straight as that gap actually extended to about 4/10 now, but the slipstream, which is oh so powerful around here as they blast away from DJ Danny, who's now 3.5 seconds behind. HK looking to the inside. Liverpool Ewan holding the outside line. HK plunging his front wing down into there. And Liverpool Ewan, again, great defending from the Toro Rosso, but HK might have the better of the lines here. He doesn't have the driest of lines. The Liverpool Ewan has been shown to the outside. HK up into the lead of this race with 2 laps to go. Liverpool Ewan won't respond here on this section of the track. He certainly will later on, but does that give HK the invitation he needs to blast away from the rest of the field?
And I'm just having a look as it currently stands with time penalties. None of the front two have a time penalty as it currently stands on the leaderboard. So as it currently stands, we are battling track position without the penalties, I should say. Both the drivers having quite a clean race.
Looks like Liverpool Ewan is going to try to go back at HK with the slipstream down the back straight as they head toward the Parabolica. As he's closing, he's closing, he's closing. He won't send it here. This could be a mirror image of the last lap as we about to start the final lap of this race, which has been extremely intense and will continue to do so right down to the wire. HK peeling to the inside, trying to break that slipstream. He's gained about 4/10 of a second down the pit straight. Could that be enough what he needs to win here in Italy? He's gained about half a second now, but HK, after crossing the line first last week and having that 1 position penalty enforced and had the win taken away from him, can he make amends here this week as his teammate up into 9th place as well? And Miles is going to relegate Maniac down into 5th as they're actually battling back there for 4th place. Maniac down now into 5th place. Miles has the move done after a little bit of adventures through the curves and the Verstappers ever so slightly. HK now as they head into what is normally the second DRS zones, but because it has been raining for so much here this afternoon, I have not been able to use the drag reduction system at all, except through qualifying. Liverpool Ewan now a 3-second time penalty. Could that put DJ Danny up into 2nd place? How much time can Liverpool Ewan put between himself and the Renault behind him? Right now, that gap is only 2 seconds. But as they round the final corner now, Liverpool Ewan, that line isn't doing himself any favors. HK is going to come across the line and win here in Italy, setting the fastest final sector. And DJ Danny actually had a 5-second unserved penalty, which will relegate him all the way down into 6th place. Liverpool Ewan hanging on for dear life to that 2nd place. Scartrix rounding out the podium, and by just a few thousandths of a second, Maniac sees himself off the podium, and Ryan 97 rounding out the top 5, making the correct strategy decision by about 0.04 of a second to stay in 5th place.
Wow.
Well, what a way to end that race.
Wow. Considering the fact that so much action at the end, and Liverpool Ewan nearly lost his position there, but unfortunately the drivers around him had that unserved penalty, and that's cost him his position. HK wins the race, solid performance. Liverpool Ewan won really good 2nd place. Scartrix, wow, a very, very ballsy strategy from him. Gets him into P3, and that is your top 3. Well done.
It's a Honda 1-2, and Scartrix, after qualifying 7th, sees himself gaining 4 positions up onto the podium yet again, something that I don't believe he's seen since Abu Dhabi, the first race of the season. You can see it there, HK claiming his 2nd victory of the season after a tumultuous start, a fantastic race in the middle of the season, and having that win taken away from him, where he was leading the way in Brazil, leading the way in Hungary, and not able to capitalize on either. Wins here at Monza, and Kendo, if you could herd our top 3 in like a few sheep, that would be fantastic.
Already making their way into the commentary booth. Currently, Liverpool Ewan and Scartrix here, just waiting on the winner, which I think he might not be able to get in, but we'll soon find out.
I don't think HK, I don't think he'll be joining us. And Ewan, a great result. I mean, it was quite the end of the race. You put on quite the show for us this afternoon.
Yeah, it could have been better. I think I could have got the win, but especially with HK going wide out of that corner just after the final, just after the first sector. I tried to sneak out the inside, didn't work. But yeah, no, P2 I'm still happy with.
Well, I mean, in the wet conditions, I mean, especially in a track like this, you qualified down in 4th, find yourself up in the 2nd. You were certainly at the benefit of the Racing Points not having the greatest of days.
Yeah, definitely. Quali was so close. I think 1st to 10th was, we were all covered by 4th, 10th or 5 tenths or something like that. So yeah, but yeah, it was right in front of me. I saw it happen, and I think they both took wing damage. So that did help me out a lot. And then I just thought I'd try stay out to see if the track dried up, and thankfully it did. So I managed to go onto the inters. But yeah, for HK to do a 2-stop and still win, it was quite impressive.
Well, in terms of the intermediate tires, we were a little bit confused on the commentary, but I'm curious as to what signaled you to come in for the intermediates.
So I think from about lap 10, my engineer was telling me that he wasn't sure which tyre was best, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to just stay out because my tyres weren't too worn at that point anyway. So I think I stayed out to about lap 17, 18, and then by that point he said we think the Inters are the best tyre now. So I thought I'd switch on to them, and it did pay off.
Well, Scartrix, you've had quite the season yourself. Qualifying down in 7th, find yourself on to 3rd. How does that one feel?
A lot better than what I felt at the start of the race. Yeah, hard battling all the way through the race, and it was a fun race with miles and everyone else.
Well, and you were certainly the strategy gambler of the day. What was the thought process to go on the intermediates that early in the race?
Well, for me, since I already had wing damage and that, Jeff was already saying that Inters and Wets probably have similar pace. So I thought, nah, sod it, might as well go for it. Unfortunately, I couldn't actually use them because of the safety cars and the virtual safety cars. But yeah, it was a good race.
Do you think you could have been on for a win today with that strategy had the safety cars not come out when they did?
Maybe, but if I didn't lose my wing again, I probably could have been up there. But yeah, it is what it is. We can move on to next week.
All right. Well, as we move on to next week, let's head to Montreal, and it is time for round 8. It was the Canadian Grand Prix. As we start to wind down this season, it should be a fantastic end. But for myself, Ford Kendo HK is our winner here in Italy. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you this time next week.